Would you agree that as entrepreneurs and as six-figure earners, we think differently from people who have an employee mindset and people who are in a regular 9-to-5 life? Now, welcome back to today's training. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can hack your brain and hack your identity so that you can start to become the person that you need to be in order to reach your goals in life. And I'm going to show you the invisible force that's been holding you back from getting all the success that you deserve. So let's quickly go through an example of what I'm about to show you. Now, if we take an overweight person on one hand, and if we take a lean athlete on the other, right? And we switch their brains, in 1 year's time, the overweight person would actually become lean because they would embody the habits and the traits that the athlete has. And the athletic guy with the overweight brain would then become overweight in a year's time because they don't have the discipline, the work ethic, the drive to do the habits and to do the actions that it takes to actually get them that result. So the reason why I'm showing you this is to show you how your mind and your beliefs ultimately affect your actions, which then impacts your reality. So let's get into it. We're going to go through the 3 things today that may be holding you back from leaving a job and ultimately living the life that you want to be living. And the first thing is investment mindset. So society has actually lied to us, and we've been led to believe that it's the norm to work up the corporate ladder and slave away for someone else, and that it's simply what we do in life. And one of those lies that society tells us in relation to that is the way in which we spend our money and how much we should be making. So let's take an example for a second. In society, it's normal for us to spend thousands of dollars on a degree just for us to then be making around $2,000 to $3,000 a month when we first start working. So on one hand, we're going into debt because of education, and what we're getting out of it is a measly $2,500 return on our investment. Now, let's take real estate and housing, for example. On one hand, society's led us to believe that it's normal to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars and go into debt for the rest of your life in order to buy a house. And whenever we do that, no one bats an eye. But then in contrast, when we're investing even just a fraction of that into our business and ourselves, suddenly everyone loses their minds. Even though it's not uncommon for a consultant or fitness freelancer to actually be making 6 figures in the first year that they start, compared to $2,000 to $3,000 a month in an employee salary, like most people in a 9-to-5 right after they graduate from university. And what people don't realize is that when it comes to money, you actually have to take the fear out of it. So if someone said to you, hey, if you invest $10,000 today, you're gonna get $100,000, which is a 10x on your investment, then you're probably gonna think it's a no-brainer, right? You might be thinking that, but you might also be thinking, okay, but it's a lot of money. And what wealthy and successful people realize is that money is all contextual, and it doesn't actually mean anything until it's put into context. So let's go back to the example where we were talking about putting in 10K to make 100K. So a 10 times ROI, return on investment. Now, most people would look at it and think, okay, $10,000 is a lot of money. But then a lot of money compared to what? Now, if someone said, I'm gonna give you $10,000, but that's all you have to live off of for the rest of your life, then, well, when you put things into perspective like that, it's actually not a lot of money at all, right? So in a similar vein, if someone said, hey, if you have $10,000, if you invest $10,000 and you're gonna make $100,000, then when the numbers are put in the proper context, $10,000 actually isn't a lot of money at all when you're comparing it to $100,000 that you wouldn't otherwise get. And when it comes to investing, successful people and people who are at the top, people who are living life on their own terms, they're not thinking, how much is it gonna cost me? They're actually thinking, how much is it gonna make me when it comes to investing in themselves? And if we wanna be successful, then we have to model the way that successful people think. For example, I know when I made my first investment, it was in a course which was $1,500, and at that time, it was almost my entire paycheck. And I was super scared. I remember taking a week having to think it over, and I didn't even tell my boyfriend because I knew he kind of judged me for it and he didn't really understand. But eventually I did it anyway because I knew that I would always make the money back. And even if I didn't, I knew that it wouldn't really be the end of the world. But for me, I decided to take the risk because I knew that taking the risk and having it fail would be much better than that feeling of regret 10 years down the line if I was still stuck in the exact same position that I was in at a 9-to-5 job that I hated. Now, the second thing holding you back is you and your limiting beliefs, which are the beliefs that you have in your mind about what is actually possible and achievable for you in life. If you've ever felt that something was too good to be true, or you're almost waiting for a drop, whether it's in your relationships or your career or your health or something else, then you're experiencing something called upper limit theory. So upper limit theory basically states that we all have some weird preconceived idea on the level of happiness that we deserve, and it's actually not really based on anything other than our rational minds. Now, upper limit theory basically states that we have a glass ceiling around the level of success that we deserve. And a lot of the time, it's actually not rational, but rather based on what we were taught growing up. And maybe so far, if you're watching this free course, if you're watching this series, there may be a voice inside your head that's asking things like, being able to quit my job, is that really possible for me? Even though I don't really have any special connections or any experience or any sort of special talents or anything like that. And you might even be thinking, is it really possible for someone like me, just an average person who doesn't really know anyone, who's not a celebrity or an influencer, to be making more than 5K a month or 10K a month or 20K a month? Because the idea may just seem so far-fetched for you, and it may just seem like it's too good to be true. Maybe the idea of traveling the world sounds too good to be true for you, and part of your mind is just telling you, even if I just made $2,000 a month, I would be happy. Even if I just replaced what I was making in my 9-to-5, I would be happy. Or even if I just made the bare minimum to survive, I would be happy. Or even worse is you start to tell yourself, oh, I'll never be able to make it anyway. And so we don't even bother to try. And maybe deep down, there's a voice telling you that you don't deserve success and you don't deserve to be able to live life on your own terms. Now, whenever you do have those thoughts, what you need to do is recognize the fact that these are just limiting beliefs. These aren't true at all. These are just thoughts that your brain is thinking in order to trick you into staying into your comfort zone. And so what happens whenever people think, oh, it's too good to be true, or oh, what if it doesn't work, or oh, it's so risky, is they end up never taking the aligned action to reach their goals in the first place. And because they never take the action, they never ultimately get the result or the reality that they want. And so it feeds into this belief of, oh, it's too good to be true. And then it just becomes a vicious cycle. So what happens is it's a vicious cycle where your beliefs then inspire your actions, which then inspire the result. Or your beliefs inspire your actions, which then determine your results. So let's take someone who chooses to ignore the limiting beliefs, right? They know it's out of their comfort zone, but they choose to actually go into it fully believing that 6 figures or 10K months or being able to travel and work for themselves is in fact reachable and really, really possible for them. So because that person truly believes that they deserve success and that it's possible for them, they end up actually going into it with the intention that it's gonna work out. And so they'll put in the right action, they'll work hard, they won't give up when it comes to the first side of resistance. And because they put in the relevant actions, they end up getting rewarded and getting the result that they want, which is being able to make enough money to hand in their 9-to-5, being able to make enough money to take care of their family and travel the world and ultimately do the things they want to do in life. And something that we want to keep in mind is that your friends and family, they might not always be supportive of your goals and dreams because they have their own ideas on what they think is possible too. So if it's our goal to ascend to the next level in life and to actually grow and to quit our jobs, then we want to make sure we're only listening and taking advice from people who have the result that we want and from people who are living a life that we wish to emulate ourselves. And sometimes the reality is there are people who really have our best interests at heart They're called family. They just don't know any better, right? And sometimes the reality is there are really people who love us and have our best interests at heart. They're just limited by their own limiting beliefs. And so it's important that you don't listen to the people around you, even though they might have your best interests at heart, if they aren't living the life that you wish you would want. Now, the third thing that we're going to go over is identity hacking. So what is identity hacking? Well, it's basically being able to trick your brain into becoming the person that you need to be so that you can reach the goals that you want to hit in life. For me personally, when I was 23, 24 years old, the difference between me living paycheck to paycheck, having to just go to work and, tolerate it, versus running $1 million business is not just what I achieved, but the person that I had to become in the process of getting that result. So me now, if you compared it back to, the person I was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I was a completely different person in both the way I think, the way I talk to other people, the way I carried myself, the way I dress, the way I talk, my worldview, completely different. The difference between me living paycheck to paycheck at the age of 23 versus running $1 million business by the age of 26 was the person that I had to become in the process. So in the very beginning, when I was still working a 9-to-5, when I had nothing but my passion for fitness, there was part of me that felt undeserving of success, right? I didn't feel like I was special. I thought I was just another 23-year-old who was meant to climb the corporate ladder. I had a huge fear of failure, and I was worried about what other people would think of me. And I always would make decisions based on, what if it doesn't work? And I would act based on, and I would operate from a place of fear and scarcity. And the truth is, if you want to be able to get to the next level in life, then you have to become a different person altogether. And that means shedding your old identity. So the beliefs that you have right now, the beliefs that are holding you back, the habits that are holding you back. Because when it comes to achieving your goals and dreams, the biggest thing holding you back is the perception of yourself and what you think is possible for you. Ultimately, you have to be able to make decisions based on the future version of yourself. So what would he or she be telling you in this moment? What are you no longer willing to put up with? What are the fears that you need to let go of right now? And you need to basically become the new character in order to achieve your dreams. So that future version of yourself who works on their own terms, who is making 6 figures, who is changing people's lives, how do they show up in life? How do they dress? What is their morning routine? How do they react to certain situations? What do they believe in life? What are their daily habits? All of that we need to start embodying right now. There have been people, and we've worked with over 300 people, there have been clients of ours who went from being in credit card debt to being 6-figure earners in a whole year. But it's not just about what they've achieved and how they've grown financially, more so who they've become as a person. So bottom line is, if you want to get to the next level, you have to first become a different person. So bottom line is, if you want to be able to get to the next level and quit your job and become a true entrepreneur, then you have to start acting and behaving and thinking like one. So that's it for today's training. Let's quickly recap. The first thing holding you back is investment mindset. So in order for us to be able to make more money, we have to start thinking like the way wealthy people think when it comes to investing and when it comes to finances. Number 2 is recognizing your limiting beliefs. So whenever you have a thought in your brain that's telling you, this whole quitting my job thing is too good to be true, or what if it doesn't work, or is it really possible for me? Just recognize that that's nothing other than an irrational fear and fear of the unknown. And number 3 is identity hacking. If you want to be able to get a different result in life, that's going to require you to become a different person first, because once you can become that higher level version of yourself, that's what's going to lead to you taking the right actions, which is going to lead to you getting the result that you want in life and so much more. So that's it for today's training, but make sure you comment below your biggest takeaways. This is the key to me being able to completely change my life in the past 3 years. But any questions, comment in the comment section and either myself or my team member will get back to you. And I'll see you in the next training. So in the next training, what I'm gonna do is give you a breakdown of the entire fitness freelancer business model and how you can actually start making 10K months as a fitness freelancer starting today. And I'm also gonna give you the exact action steps that you can take which don't require any money. So you're one step closer to actually leaving your job. So make sure you check out the next training where we're gonna go through the exact business model that both myself and my clients use that have been able to generate them 6 figures in their first year as a fitness freelancer, even if they didn't have loads of experience or testimonials or qualifications or basically anything to start off with. So make sure you check out that next video now. I'll see you there.